Very good evening to all. We are here to explore knowledge and embark on the second session of the 3MT guest lecture series of ICOM 2024, hosted by the Faculty of Management Studies at the Open University of Sri Lanka. First and foremost, please join me in welcoming our distinguished resource person, Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavantha. We also extend a warm welcome to Professor Nalin Abeysekera, Dean of the Faculty of and Conference Chair of ICOM 2024. Dr. Janaka Hinkenda, Secretary of ICOM 2024. Professor V. Sivalogadasan, Session Chair of the 3MT, and Ms. Harini Perera, Coordinator of the 3MT to this session. As we gather today for the end of 3MT guest lecture series, I would like to extend a special welcome to our remarkable contestants. Your dedication, hard work, and passion for research have brought you to this prestige stage, and we are honored to witness your journey. Not only that, I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed faculty members and all other participants. Your support and engagement are the guiding light of this session. Now, I would like to cordially invite Professor Nalin Abeysekera, the Conference Chair of ICOM 2024, to share a few words and his insights on this session.
Thank you very much. I think by looking at the context of the today's scenario and all, the topic on navigating the PhD journey, strategies for balancing study, work and family life can be considered as really important. And more importantly, one of our good friend, Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavantha, a brilliant lecturer with all these credentials of academic qualifications and one of the very sorted out lecturer for the students. Thank you very much for allocating your time, gracing this occasion. I always believe all the participants here, you are very fortunate to have her on the board. So as a dean of the faculty, I would like to wish you all the best for the particular program and for the speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Really, you are the busy within this today schedule, but you are sharing your inspiring speech. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for sharing your valuable insights with us. Now, it's my honor to introduce our esteemed guest lecturer, Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavantha. She is a senior lecturer at the Department of Human Resource Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of California. With a rich academic career, she has made significant contributions to the field of human resource management, particularly in international human resource management, global leadership, development, and international business. Her research interests are as diverse as her teaching expertise, focusing on employee stress, well being, happiness, and organizational behavior. She is also deeply committed to the enhancement of teaching and learning in higher education. Beyond academia, she is actively involved in training programs related to human resource management, organizational management, and soft skills development. Her decision to community service is evident through her involvement in various charitable projects, including those with Candle Aid Lanka. With her extensive experience and understanding of the challenges faced by academics, she is well equipped to provide valuable strategies for managing this demanding yet rewarding aspect of life. Without further ado, I cordially invite Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavantha to continue the session on navigating the PhD journey, strategies for balancing study, work, and family life. Really, this is a nice topic. So, over to you, madam.
Thank you very much, Nayani. A very good evening to each and every one of you who have joined with us here today. First and foremost, thank you very much for this honored invitation that was extended to me to join as a resource person for the third International Conference on Management and Entrepreneurship as a resource person in one of the preliminary workshops. So my gratitude goes to the Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies, Professor Nalin Abeysekera, and the organizing committee for this invitation. And thank you very much, everyone, for joining with us this evening. And I hope we will be able to continue with a very insightful dialogue today. As I was informed by Ms. Harini Perera and Ms. Nayani Senarathna, the Faculty of Management Studies of the Open University of Sri Lanka is organizing the International Conference on Management and Entrepreneurship for the third consecutive year. And parallel to that, they are organizing this esteemed 3MT competition or the 3-minute thesis competition. And parallelly to that, they are organizing this workshop series. And this is said to be the second workshop of the workshop series. The topic that we have agreed to discuss upon during today's session is navigating the PhD journey, strategies for balancing study, work, and family life. So rather than just doing this as a guest speech or a session, let's have an insightful dialogue during the next 1 hour or so. As I was introduced by Nayani, I'm Dr. Prabhashini Vijayavantha, and I'm a senior lecturer attached to the Department of Human Resource Management at the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya. And if I am to brief a bit about my background, I completed my Bachelor of Science in Human Resource Management special degree with a first class from the Department of Human Resource Management at the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Sri Jayawardenepura. And thereafter, I completed my Master of Business Administration degree from University of Colombo. And I completed my PhD or the Doctor of Philosophy degree from the Management and Science University, Malaysia. And I am an associate member of CIPM or the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management as well. So that's about myself. Let's move on to see what is there in the session. So this is what I am going to take you through, or this is what we are going to discuss during this session. So as we are talking about navigating the PhD journey, I just wanted to break this topic into pieces. So first thing, we are going to together look at what is a PhD or what is a Doctor of Philosophy degree. And then why do we want to stress so much, put so much effort and get a PhD? Why? Why actually? We are going to reflect upon ourselves together and see why we actually need a PhD. Then we will just together go through our own PhD journeys. So there may be parties who have already completed their PhD here and who are pursuing their PhD here, and those who are planning to pursue a PhD in the future. So let's see how each and every one of us will see what is a PhD and how the PhD journey will evolve. And then we look at the challenges that we will have to encounter during the PhD journey. What are the barriers that we will have to face or encounter during the PhD journey? And then let's see how can we overcome. How can we overcome these challenges? Can we actually strike a balance between the multiple demands that are coming towards us from the PhD and the related studies, and our work or occupation, our personal life or family, and our other social networks. And then let's see how we can navigate the PhD journey while balancing or effectively managing the demands coming from these multiple sources. So, what is a PhD? Along with talking about what is a PhD, we'll also see whether what a DBA is as well, because we all observe that people are also pursuing Doctor of Philosophy degrees as well as Doctor of Business Administration degrees. So we observe that many people who are more into philosophy, more into knowledge, and more into academia pursue PhDs or Doctor of Philosophy degrees, while the people who are working in organizations and who are more into application are pursuing Doctor of Business Administration degrees, which both are in the same level in terms of research gravity expected, as well as in terms of the Sri Lanka qualification framework. So, what is actually a PhD or a DBA? A PhD or a DBA is the highest academic and research degree from a university. So as we all know, both PhDs and DBAs are offered by universities. So the first thing that we need to realize is when we decide to pursue a PhD or do a PhD, we need to find a suitable university and seek admission from that university to pursue a PhD. So there are so many state universities in Sri Lanka offering PhD programs or DBA programs. We can enroll into one of them, or there are so many other foreign universities which are offering PhD programs within Sri Lanka as well as in other countries. So as long as they are registered or accepted in the Commonwealth, or as long as they are a member of the International Association of Universities, or as long as they are listed in the Commonwealth University Yearbook, we can register or pursue a PhD from those universities. So, a PhD or a DBA is the highest academic and research degree from a university. So, out of the various levels of degree programs offered by universities, a PhD or a DBA is the highest level of the academic degrees offered. So, as it says, because it is the highest level, the amount of commitment, devotion, dedication expected from the people who are pursuing this degree is also very high. So therefore, we need to keep that in mind when we register for a PhD, because it is the highest academic degree. So they expect a lot of high standard admission requirements and a lot of commitment and dedication in pursuing the degree. And also, as I would continue to discuss in the future as well, we need to keep in mind that a PhD or a DBA is a research degree, and that differs from a degree with coursework. So that is one of the places where we just confuse ourselves, because as we have done a first degree, as many of us have done a first degree or a professional qualification, which includes quite a considerable amount of coursework, structured coursework, and as many of us have done a master's degree, which again includes quite an amount of coursework, we expect the same with a PhD as well. And then once we get admission and register for the course, we realize that it is not like that. It is a research degree and the structure is different. And it demands more discipline and involvement and engagement from the side of the student or the participant than for the first degree, bachelor's degrees and the master's degrees. So, as I told a while ago, many of us, including both you and I, at different points may misunderstand the purpose of getting a PhD degree. So many people just think, okay, it would be the same as doing a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. So that is a misunderstanding. It's a very unfortunate misunderstanding and a misconception. So therefore, we need to get out of that misunderstanding at the very beginning. Fortunate are the people who get out of this misunderstanding before they start to pursue this degree. So we need to realize that what is the purpose of getting a PhD degree? Why am I going to pursue a PhD degree? So a small activity or an exercise that one could do before enrolling themselves for a PhD is to sit and think what is actually the purpose of getting this PhD degree. And also, it's really important that you do a bit of homework or background study while doing your PhD or before enrolling for the PhD to identify or find out what are the commitments expected from this, which amount of commitment is expected from this, so that before you get into the pool or the river, you know what are the commitments expected. So when you get into the river to swim, you already are aware of the expectations so that you would not get shocked. We all know that we get shocked when the expectations differ from the actual scenario. So when we get to know the expected level of commitment required in advance, we do a self-evaluation and see whether I can actually make this expected commitment. Then only we will get into that. So if we are unable to make that commitment, we will adjust ourselves to accommodate and commit to these requirements. And then also we all know all good things come with sacrifices. We can't just sit and get anything good. So all good things require us to make sacrifices. PhD and DBA are the same. So it's very important that we are aware that it expects us to have, or we need to do some sacrifices during this period. And definitely the results will pay off. So therefore, we need to be ready and prepared to make the sacrifices that are called for as and when required. So we already know it requires commitment, dedication, and sacrifice, in addition to intelligence and brain power. So a PhD rather than a bachelor's and a master's takes more than just brain power. So brain power or knowledge or intelligence is something, and that is not underestimated at all. That's really, really important. Your brain power is an added advantage for you, and your intelligence is a great benefit for you. But a PhD takes more than just brain power to arrive at the completion. You know why? Because when it comes to PhD, we struggle hard to find a problem, and we somehow discover a problem. or create a problem. While having so many problems in life, we try to create another different problem and then sort that problem or find an explanation for that problem during the PhD. So then, while it demands so much sacrifices, so much commitment, then why are we still pursuing PhD? There are so many professors here, so many people with PhDs here with us today. And I have done a PhD, and many of you are pursuing a PhD. So, with all this hard work, why are we doing a PhD? So, as I told earlier, we need to sit and reflect why we are doing a PhD. Why do we pursue a PhD? So, before this advice is for the people who have not yet started a PhD, but who have joined with us here today. So, as I told earlier, take a moment, sit and take a sheet of paper and write down what is the purpose of doing a PhD for me. Why am I doing a PhD? And just keep it aside. And when you go on your PhD journey, many of you who have done PhDs would be able to relate. You may think yourself, why did I get into this burden? මොකටද මම මේ PhD එක කරන්න පටන් ගත්තේ? You will definitely ask from yourself while doing the PhD. That's very normal because all of us are ordinary human beings, not Supermans or Batmans. So, when you tend to ask that question while pursuing your PhD, the people who wrote on a sheet of paper at the outset why you really need it can have a look at it and see, okay, I have decided to commit myself to this laborious task because definitely there is light at the end of the tunnel. So that will give you motivation at the time when you think, why did I sit to do this? So definitely you need to understand what are the reasons for pursuing a PhD. You need to have a genuine interest to do research and generate knowledge, gain knowledge, generate knowledge, and disseminate that knowledge. So, the people who become unsuccessful, though all of us will find it very difficult during our PhD journey, the people who become unsuccessful or fail are the people who have started to do PhDs for the wrong reasons. So we need to keep those wrong reasons aside. Some people think they like to call themselves with the title doctor. Of course, many of us as ordinary human beings would like to call ourselves doctor. That is perfectly all right. But if you're doing a PhD simply for the title of getting yourself called as doctor, that's a very wrong reason to do a PhD. So that should be an added advantage or an added privilege or a benefit that you get as a result of going through this laborious journey. So what you actually need is a genuine interest, a very genuine interest or an enthusiasm. For what? To gain knowledge. You should love to gain knowledge. You should love to do research. You should love to generate knowledge and to disseminate that knowledge through TV programs, research article publications, magazine articles, and newspaper articles. So if you have this genuine interest and the love of knowledge, you can do a PhD. Like for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, you cannot force yourself to do a PhD. You should have this genuine interest. Why? Because, as I was telling previously, a degree by research is very different from a degree with coursework. The bachelor's degrees and master's degrees are having a larger component of coursework. And such a degree is heavily structured. They have for each semester, they're divided into terms, trimesters, or semesters. And there are different subjects that we have to study in each semester. In each semester, we are having lectures for those subjects, where lecturers gain knowledge, explore knowledge, and share them with us during the lectures. We just have to sit and listen to them, and we get the handouts. Whereas in a research degree, there's nobody to gain or gather knowledge for us. We have to explore the internet. We have to go through books. We have to read books, research articles, and other web resources. And we have to gather knowledge by ourselves. And then after the and we have to make our own notes. We have to write down our own notes if necessary. There's nobody to give us handouts. And also, at the end of a coursework subject, we have an exam which forces us to study. So we don't sleep, we take leave, we put our legs in a basin of water and stay up whole night and study. There's no such force coming for us to do our research work in a PhD. So we have to motivate ourselves. We have to push ourselves. And once you complete a semester, you finish a set of exams, then you get the feeling that I am done with something. But in a research degree, it's very rare that you get that feeling quite often. You get that feeling after doing a lot of work and completing your proposal defense or confirmation. That comes after a considerable period, not like just 3 months or 6 months. So, till that period, you need to maintain your momentum. In a coursework degree, after a semester, when you sit for an exam and when you finish that exam and when you get your results, you're happy. And that gives you some motivation to work for the next semester. In research degrees, you don't get such sources of motivation. So, we all need to be self motivated individuals during a research degree. A student who is pursuing a PhD or a Doctor of Philosophy degree or a DBA or a Doctor of Business Administration degree has to be very, very disciplined. The person has to have a lot of self-motivation and self-discipline. So they need to discipline themselves. There's nobody to discipline you. And you need to be engaged in this structure of the research degree. Now, in a coursework degree, the student just has to be disciplined and rigorous in following the predetermined structure regimentally. But here, in a research degree, it also requires you to think a lot. You need to use your brain a lot and be very, very creative. So, if we are ready to all this, we can easily pursue a PhD. So, for those who are planning to pursue a PhD, be prepared with these things. Those who are already doing a PhD, get these things embedded to yourself: self motivation and self discipline. Always think, don't overthink, think. And inculcate creativity to yourself. So then what do we actually need when you are pursuing a PhD? So PhD is a journey. It is usually a journey of around 3 to 4 years or 5 years duration. So when you are going through this journey, you need to have the same momentum that we had in the year 0 till year 5. There could be ups and downs, definitely, but you need to keep that momentum. So then, what prerequisites do we need to develop? So here are some important prerequisites for pursuing a successful PhD. First thing, as I told earlier, passion. You need to have a passion for what? To gather knowledge, to gain knowledge, create knowledge, or generate knowledge and disseminate that knowledge. So that passion will give you an enthusiasm to embark on this challenging journey. I would not say difficult, but I would say it's challenging. So you need to start out this journey enthusiastically. The unfortunate situation here is many people lose their enthusiasm or the momentum halfway through. And losing or this going down of this momentum is very normal. That has happened to me. That may have happened to you. And many of you here who has already done a PhD will definitely be able to relate it to yourselves. Of course, your enthusiasm and momentum will go down. But only thing is you need to again start from that point. Do not lose your momentum. You need to take up again and take it towards the end. Next thing, you need to be very inquisitive. We are normally, human beings are inquisitive. We are very keen to know what happened there, what happened in Bangladesh, what happened in this political stage, what happened at the Candy Perera. And not only that, we are also inquisitive to find out what is happening in the other people's lives as well. So now we need to transfer that inquisitiveness to inquire about our chosen subject area. We need to be very curious and inquisitive to find out more about the chosen subject area. Then we need to look at the problem that we have identified in a very creative way. We need to develop our creative brain. So we need to make our brain work so that we get creative ideas and we tend to think creatively. At the same time, so creativity comes, they say, from the right brain. But at the same time, we need to keep your left brain active to maintain your discipline. As I said, self-discipline is a must. As we are adults now, and as we are pursuing a research degree, there are no lecturers or guiders to discipline us. We need to discipline ourselves. Disciplining others is easy than disciplining yourself. That's very common again. So we need to think carefully and discipline ourselves. And PhD journey is, as I told earlier, not problematic, not difficult, but definitely it's going to be challenging. So when we are going through a challenging journey with lots of ups and downs, we need to have persistence and perseverance. We need to have the persistence. We need to be consistent throughout. There could be ups and downs, but again, we need to gain the momentum. And we should have the attitude that I'm going to never give up. I will somehow continue and finish it off by getting the PhD. So you need to persevere, or you should have perseverance to continue and finish off what you started enthusiastically. And to remain persistent and to maintain your perseverance, you need to develop resilience. So you need to be resilient yourselves to go towards the end. And not like coursework, not like doing assignments, you need to be little more meticulous. During a research, you're taking a small area. For an example, you're studying about employee well-being, let's say for an example, or you're studying happiness at work or thriving at work. Once you choose that area, you need to pay attention to detail. You need to dig deep into that and pay attention to very, very minute details and gather knowledge. So if we develop these character qualities gradually, we can easily face the challenges in this journey. When you develop these qualities, if I say that your journey will be smooth, I'm just telling a complete lie. Your journey will be challenging, but if you develop these character qualities, you will be able to sail by facing those challenges resiliently. So let us just do a bit of brainstorming together. The people who have not started a PhD yet may think about this, and also you may have already heard from others, your friends, colleagues, and others who are already doing PhDs, and those who have already embarked on the journey of the PhD may have experienced these. So let's see what are the barriers or challenges that we all come across during this journey. So I just wanted to share these barriers with you for you to make you realize that these barriers occur not only for me, not only for you. මටම විතරක් නෙමෙයි මේවා වෙන්නේ මේවා PhD කරන හැමෝටම වෙනවා කියන එක. That's what I wanted to share with you. Let's see what are the barriers that all of us have faced and will continue to face. So the most difficult challenge which is related to the today's topic is time management. So we can manage all other resources, but it's very hard to manage what? Time. Managing time means we have 24 hours for a day. We have 7 days a week. We have 4 weeks a month, or 28 to 31 days a month. And we have 12 months a year and 365 days a year. And so that's common for everybody. So that's what time is. Then actually what is time management? Actually, what should we manage here? We should manage our lives or ourselves. So time management is basically managing ourselves. So to manage ourselves is something that we should do, not others. So that's the first lesson that we all learn. And I too have learned that sometimes in the hard way, that that we should not let the external forces to manage ourselves or our lives. We should manage our time and ourselves, so that we would be able to find time to gather or gain knowledge. How can we gather or gain knowledge? What is the commonest way of gaining or gathering knowledge? Is there anybody that who would like to just share their ideas with us? What is the most common form of gathering knowledge? Anybody who would like to share their views? So the most common or the widest way of gathering knowledge is through reading. So when we are doing a PhD, we need to read a lot. We need to read quite a lot. And in most cases, what you read or what we read is either books or research articles. These research articles are relatively lengthy. Often they have more than 10 pages, up to 30 to 40 pages. So it's like never ending. කොච්චර කියවුවත් ඉවර වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So that's not going to be easy for us. But still, we need to read and we need to find time to read. So one of the best strategies that we can use is during your PhD journey, every day in your daily schedule, allocate a small time slot, let's say 1 hour to half an hour. If you can allocate more than that, that's perfect. But if you can't, just allocate either half an hour or 1 hour every day and read. Read something. Maybe you can maybe at the end of the day, you have read only one page. That's okay. You have at least finished one page. Then also writing. The next thing that we need to do in a PhD is to write. Apart from other things like lab experiments or data collection, the next challenging task is writing. So again, in your daily schedule, just allocate half an hour or 1 hour. If you can do more than that, that's perfect. But if you can't, just allocate half an hour or 1 hour for writing. So write something related to your PhD during that 1 hour or half an hour. Don't worry about the quality of your writing. Sometimes your writing may be very poor and you will get frustrated and you might delete everything. Don't do that. That's okay. Whatever it is, just write. Maybe if you can write at least 1 page or probably 300 words a day or 250 words a day, that's perfect or wonderful. So when you allocate a time slot, maybe 1 hour or half an hour for your reading and writing, then after accommodating those 2 slots in your schedule, thereafter accommodate all the other responsibilities related to your family, related to your children, related to your work, related to your other social activities, all that. So that would help you to manage your time and find time for reading and writing amidst other responsibilities. Then work-life balance. So when it comes to our adulthood, this is not like our school education or our undergraduate education. We have aging parents to look after. We have our siblings to perform certain duties. And we have spouses to be looked after. And we have children to be looked after. And we have other relatives who expect a lot of things from us. Our friends are waiting for us to have a dinner out, a lunch out, a get together, a wedding, or a party. And we have to do quite a lot of work responsibilities. And we have other professional organizations which we are a part of, which we are unable to give up. So all these things are part of our life. So we have to balance these things. When you say balancing, it does not mean that like in a weighing scale that we are balancing everything equally. We can't do that. So that's why there's something called prioritizing. We'll discuss about prioritizing later. So, all these demands, which I mentioned earlier, coming from family, our personal life, our work, our bosses, our colleagues, our toxic work cultures in certain situations, and our some relationships, which may be either positive or sometimes toxic, all these create a pressure on us, which will disturb in our PhD journey, which is very common to me, to you, and to everybody out there pursuing a PhD. So, first thing, we need to sit and understand that this is not only for me. Matamamai venne so then we realize that it's common for everybody. Then we tend to look at their lives and see how these others have overcome these challenges. How have these others faced those challenges? And what have I got to learn from them? The next most challenging thing is to deal with your supervisor. So when you are doing a PhD, as I told earlier, you don't have regular lectures as in a coursework program. But there is a person or two allocated for you to guide you and mentor you, called the supervisor. Supervisor is a very important person in your PhD journey. And that he or she will become a VIP in your life during your PhD journey. So you need to carefully learn, read, and study and find out how to maintain a strong relationship or a positive relationship, I would say, rather than strong with your supervisor. For that, there are advice and guidance on books on research methodology and on the web, which is something that we all should read so that we can learn a lot and we will change our misconceptions if we have had anything on our minds before. It's very important at the outset to either talk or realize by understanding what your supervisor's expectations are and see whether you can meet their expectations. If we realize that these are unrealistic expectations at the outset, you may have to make a decision. Otherwise, you may have to work on with your supervisor. The next thing, there could be a lot of challenges, as I said, during your research journey. As I told earlier, simply because you develop these character qualities, your PhD journey will not be something very smooth and soft. There would be different types of challenges. Some would be related directly to your research. Something like you may have now, if the people who have already completed their PhDs and the people who are doing their PhDs at the moment may realize this data collection. If you are doing doing a research by gathering primary data is not going to be easy, especially in countries like Sri Lanka and other South Asian countries. People are not very keen to share data, or people are not very genuine in responding to questionnaires. So then, or even giving time for interviews. or focus group discussions or permitting you for observations. So data collection is not going to be that easy. So then this is going to be a challenge. Do you want 1,700 or 400 data entries? You may just end up with 40. So then you have to work hard to collect data. And sometimes when you collect data, it's so much effort. And when you run your analysis, you may arrive at inconclusive results. Results which are unable to provide a proper conclusion, which is again very common and very normal, has happened to many, except for a fortunate few. So then you'll have to either do something with the data or see what has happened in your analysis and do something with your data again, like analyzing them again by learning other methods of analysis, or you may have to collect data again by going to the field. And also when you tend to write your chapters and your articles, the supervisors or your evaluators, your examiners or your reviewers might not be 100% happy with what you write. They may request you to revise or rewrite, or sometimes they might just throw it away, rejecting them, which gives you a lot of frustration, demotivation, and stress. So you need to realize, okay, I'm stressed. Just leave a few days to live with that stress and come out of that. Then another barrier that we all face, especially the scholars in the South Asian context, face this challenge, which is called the imposter syndrome. It's a small psychological syndrome that does not require medication, but to change the way we think. All of us suffer from this imposter syndrome in differing degrees. What is actually imposter? It is the self-doubt, the doubt that we have about what? About ourselves. About ourselves on which aspects? About our capabilities. We are not sure what my knowledge level is. We are not sure what my skills are. We are not sure about the amount of exposure that we have already gained. So there are different tools that you may come across on internet, which you can use to just evaluate yourself. And they give you suggestions on how to overcome imposter syndrome. So today we live in a very fortunate period with internet and all these AI technology, where we have all these remedies at our fingertips. It's just a matter of spending time and taking the trouble to search and find them. And when it comes to doing a research degree, it's not like a coursework degree where you can get together and study, where you cannot, sit and get a copy session and overcome the problems that you have in your lesson. You have to do a copy for yourself and learn by yourself. So, this aspect of research degrees make you feel isolated. So then this isolation will again create mental health challenges. Challenges related to your mental health or your mind. You would easily get stressed. You would feel very, very lonely because you are not getting together with others, sitting together with others, eating and drinking and studying in a research degree. So you feel very cornered, lonely, and isolated. The continuous isolation and loneliness will lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. So then, how can we overcome that? So, with the inherent nature of a PhD, can't we do it together? It's different from coursework, but still you can do a PhD together with your colleagues. I will tell you how, and then you will realize the best medication for all these mental health challenges is to have a buddy, a PhD buddy for you. I'm telling that with my own experience, and I'm forever grateful for the buddies that I had during my MBA research period, as well as my PhD, for not letting me to isolate myself, not letting me to feel lonely, and not letting me to get myself stressed. And for bringing me out of that stressed silo when I was stressed. When I was trying to isolate myself in a silo, they pulled me out. So I'm forever grateful for those PhD buddies. So, with experience, I tell you, always have a PhD buddy for you. So now the topic of the session is to have a balance between your personal work and other aspects of your life. So can we actually strike a balance as such? I don't think so. And we should not try to. We cannot have an equal balance with everything during this journey of life. Not even during the PhD journey, but during this journey of life. There are times where we prioritize our education, where there are some kind of neglecting happening in our health, personal life, family, and work. And there are times which demands a lot of, there are times where there are a lot of demands coming from work, where we just keep aside our PhD for a while, our family for a while, and commit wholeheartedly for our work commitments. So we cannot actually strike a balance. We need to see what is the most important priority at the moment and give priority to that. So this thing is not something very unique to me, unique to you. It's common for everybody. Even Indra Nooyi, though she's not an academic or a researcher, she's one of the very esteemed female leaders who have led a family, who have looked after parents, who have raised children, and who have led Pepsi company. See or listen what she has to say so that you would realize that everybody faces this challenge. Kindly just tell me whether this video is audible to you.
The biological clock and
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
the biological clock and the career clock are in total conflict with each other. Total, complete conflict. When you have to have kids, you have to build your career. Just as you're rising to middle management, your kids need you because they're teenagers, they need you for the teenage years. And too. So he needs you. Sorry. They need you too. So what do? And as you grow even more, your parents need you because they're aging. So we're screwed. I mean, we cannot have it all. But you know what? Stay-at-home mothering was a full-time job. Being a CEO of a company is 3 full-time jobs rolled into one. How can you do justice to all? You can't. The person that hurts the most with this whole thing is your spouse. There's no question about it. You know, Raj always says, you know what? Your list is PepsiCo, 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 your 2 kids, our 2 kids, your mom, and then the bottom of the list is me. There are 2 ways to look at it. You should be happy you're on the list.
See, you realize that
The
it's
Bible.
not going to be easy for everybody. Whether you are doing a PhD, whether you are an academic, whether you are a CEO, whatever it is. So it's a matter of prioritizing things at the moment. So let's now, as I was telling, that time management is a serious challenge. Let's see how we can overcome that challenge, or what suggestions can we think together to manage ourselves better than now. So, as I told earlier, we actually are not going to manage time. We have to actually manage ourselves. So then, when we manage ourselves, we will be able to effectively do it in such a way that we could generate the expected outcomes. So, the most important thing when you are doing your PhD is to manage yourself in such a way that you prioritize the most important things in your life. For that, after you go and enroll for a PhD, come home the second day and sit and again take another sheet of paper. So I told you to take a sheet of paper before enrolling for a PhD and to write down why you are enrolling for a PhD and why you need a PhD. And after enrolling yourself for a PhD, come home and sit and take a sheet of paper and list down your priorities in life, or the parties or the sources that demand yourself, your time, and your energy. Your spouse, your kids, your aging parents, your neighbors, your relatives, your siblings, your nieces, your nephews, your schoolmates, your old boys association or old girls association, your alumni, your university batchmates, your teachers, your lecturers, your boss, your subordinates, your colleagues. Like that, identify the parties and identify the tasks and prioritize them. So remember, the number one priority in this list should be who? The person whom you love most. Whom do you love most? Married people would say that's their kids. Unmarried people would say maybe their parents, something like that. That's all wrong. The most loved person by ourselves is ourselves, right? So therefore, keep yourself as the number one priority. So your physical and mental health should be your number one priority. Second, it should be your immediate family, because family is the thing that will be there for you in anything and everything. Third would be your studies, or I would place it like your career. So, career includes your studies or your PhD plus your job, because you're doing a PhD to add some value to your career. It could be your current job or your future job, whatever it is. So, like that, identify your priorities and then create a schedule. Every day, you create a schedule from the time that you get out of the bed for brushing your teeth, for washing your face, for cooking, for getting dressed, for, let's say, eating, for reading, for to go traveling, like that. Create a schedule every day. Create a schedule from, let's say, 4:30, you get up in the morning, you go to bed at 10:30 in the night. So create a schedule for every thing that you do during the day. If you are worshipping or you are saying prayers, For that also allocate a time. From 7 to 7:30, I'm going to say prayers like that. Sometimes you will not be able to stick to that schedule. Exactly. Sometimes you might need more time than what you expected, but still keep a schedule so that you know what things you could not accomplish today. And also, when you put things down in writing in a schedule or a to do list, there is a tendency that your brain gets a message that I need to somehow do it. So you will overcome laziness, you will overcome your lethargy. So, therefore, create organized schedules. A schedule where you organize your day. I create a schedule for myself most of the days. Sometimes, on half of the things that I scheduled, I have not accomplished. That's okay. Then I know in the evening when I look at it that I had been unable to complete all this. So then I make it a point to transfer it to the next day rather than just forgetting about them. And the second thing, I also make it a point to realize I have at least accomplished something and to be grateful to that. So, therefore, apart from a schedule for those small, minute tasks, create a to do list. A to do list that will list out everything that you have to do. Sometimes, again, as I said before, you will not be able to get all those things done. Don't worry about that. That's perfectly all right. Anyway, when it is there, somehow you will do it either today or tomorrow or at least day after. So when you do them, check them off once you complete them. You know, that feeling of checking off something you have done gives you a lot of motivation, reduces stress, and creates positive hormones within yourself. So, those are small things which would create your momentum and keep you going and stay focused. Staying focused and maintaining your energy levels is something very difficult that you and I both face challenging. But still, we need to stay focused and avoid distractions. There are a lot of tools that we can use to avoid distractions. Like, now one of the commonest forms that cause distraction to ourselves is social media. So you can use a blocker, something like Leech Block, or there are so many other blocks that you can install as an add-on to your internet browsing software so that that will block your, let's say, if now I have a blocker on my internet browsing software called Leech Block, which I use. So when I browse Facebook 5 minutes every 1 hour. And so when I go beyond 5 minutes, it automatically closes and blocks Facebook. So I know I'm done for that hour and I need to focus. So through that, we can avoid distractions. While you're writing or reading during that 1 hour, you can keep your mobile phone on silent mode or airplane mode, or you can switch on the do not disturb mode on and work on that half an hour using a Pomodoro timer or something like that. And thereafter, if you have got any calls or messages, you can always respond to them. So you're not going to miss anything. And when you write and read, put your phones on silent mode and keep them completely aside rather than keeping them with you so that you don't tend to take them to your hand. Then break tasks into smaller steps. So that's something I often tend to do when I'm faced with a very complicated task. When you're given a complicated task, it's very complicated. You can't even think how you're going to do it. So then what you should do is to break it into smaller steps or smaller chunks and finish one at a time. And once you finish one part of that task, you can tick that. And that gives you energy, focus, and the motivation to move on to the second task or the second chunk or the second step. And also, once you complete one task, you can reward yourself for successfully completing one part of a challenging task. And always find out what are your deadlines. And based on that, keep a time plan. I'm going to finish writing my chapter 1 by this date. You will be able to do it or you will not be able to. That's okay. Just keep a deadline. So if the university wants you to submit your chapter 5 by 10th of August, you keep your deadline as 5th of August. So that you at least might finish it by 9th of August. So like that, know your deadlines and set advanced deadlines to motivate yourself so that you have time even for contingencies. The deadline given by the university for submitting your chapter 1 is 31st of August. But the deadline that I have set for myself to complete chapter 1 is 20th of August, so that I have 10 to 11 days extra to read it again and edit it and improve it. So because I know that I have 10 days more, I will just write it without worrying about the quality so that my work gets finished. And you know, on the 17th, my mother might get sick, or my child might get sick, or I get a work commitment that my boss wants me to do. Then I won't get stressed, depressed, or worried. I will get stressed, but not that much. Because now from 17th, my schedule is completely disturbed. But still, I have time till 31st. But if I was working on a very tight schedule, and if somebody gets sick in the family on the 28th or 9th, and when my deadline is 31st, I will run into depression. So therefore, advanced deadlines will help you to meet your deadlines successfully without getting stressed and while fulfilling your commitments to your other parties related to you. And the last thing here is something that many Sri Lankans find it hard to do. And that is common for both myself and yourself. That is, we find it very hard to say no. We tend to often be people pleasers. This is a weakness that is there mostly with Sri Lankans, South Asians, and Asians compared to Westerners. They tend to say no. Sometimes we try to make fake commitments or fake promises even because we find it hard to say no and we lose our credibility. So therefore, we should learn to say no for certain things which we are unable to do rather than making our plates overfilled. So there are different ways on internet, Instagram, and even other social media which guides you or gives us insights on how can we say no to certain things without hurting the feelings of the other parties. So then we should learn to do that. The next most important thing I wanted to share with you to successfully navigate your PhD journey is the art of working with your supervisor. It's an art of it's an art to work with your supervisor. So, as I told earlier, every student who is doing a PhD is assigned with a supervisor. And you have to work with that supervisor throughout that period, maybe 3 to 5 years. So it's very crucial or very, very important to maintain a very strong professional rapport with your supervisor. Remember, it's very important to maintain a strong rapport and a very strong professional rapport with your supervisor. So you need to maintain a strong communication with your supervisor. You need to be in touch with your supervisor on a regular basis. So this communication is the key. One of the commonest problems that our students have with us as supervisors is they come and meet us and get guidance and we do discussions. And after a couple of discussions, they disappear. ඊට පස්සේ අපි පත්තරේ ඇඩ් එකක් දාන්න ඕනේ පින්තූරේ දාලා සොයා දෙන්නෙකුට ලක්ෂයක් දෙනු ලැබේ කියලා. එහෙම දාලවත් ස්ටුඩන්ට්ව හොයාගන්න බෑ. So don't be like that. Always keep a strong rapport with your supervisor through communication. Be in touch with your supervisor regularly. At the outset, know your supervisor's expectations. What is your supervisor expecting out of you? What is the quality of the thesis that the supervisor wants to produce? Whether you can achieve that quality or not. What amount of publications your supervisor wants. And avoid misexpectations from both parties. Always remember this will be your PhD and not your supervisor's PhD. Your supervisor has already done a PhD. So that this is your PhD and your research and your baby and not your supervisor's baby. අපි දෙන්නගේ රිසර්ච් එක නෙමෙයි මගේ රිසර්ච් එක done under the guidance of your supervisor. Supervisor will only guide you and show you the direction. You will have to walk along that direction. Sometimes supervisor will only come to the gate, show you the direction, give you the compass and ask you to travel alone. Then you will have to do it. You can't ask your supervisor, can you come with me, tightly holding my hand? That might happen if you're very, very fortunate, but all of us are not that fortunate. So it's very important that you maintain a very good relationship. And remember to communicate everything in your life with your supervisor as long as those things will affect your PhD. If you're undergoing a health issue, if you're undergoing a family problem, if you're undergoing a situation related to your child, communicate it in a very professional manner so that your supervisor understands your circumstances and might sometimes provide professional support to overcome those challenges. So then, the next thing, again related to saying no, is about setting boundaries. As we have prioritized the most important things in our life, we need to maintain healthy boundaries. So, if there are certain things which come beyond your boundaries, will have to say no because our priorities at this moment are your work, PhD, and your family. You might have to keep a boundary from your old boys association, from your alumni association, or from your professional organizations, or from your charity organizations for a short period. So, or from your neighbors and friends as well sometimes. So, these boundaries are kept not to push others away from your life completely. You will maintain those relationships. So, you will communicate openly that I'm doing a PhD these days and I'm busy with that. So, for the moment, I'll keep myself on a passive level for this particular period. After I complete my PhD, I'll get on back with you so that it's you, they would realize you're honoring yourself, you're respecting yourself. When you respect yourself, others also tend to respect yourself so that others would respect you. This person is doing a PhD. That's a great honor for us. So once they complete their PhD, they'll get back with us and we'll have a person with a doctorate in our alumni. That's a great honor for us. So we should support him these days by helping him in his data collection. We should not disturb him or her these days like that. Then the next thing is to create a support structure. It's very, very important to create a strong support structure that will hold you tightly in times when you feel like giving up your PhD or your work or your personal life. Those people who did not have a support structure in the PhD have given up their PhDs. So, as I told earlier, have a PhD buddy. That such a person is very, very important. A PhD buddy is a person who is doing the same PhD program together with you. So they are doing their research on their area, maybe on leadership. I am doing my research on employee well-being. So we both are in the same program. We are working together, but on two different topics. But still, there could be a lot of common things for us to share. Setbacks, disappointments, frustrations, commit demands coming from work and family, and achievements, which will motivate each other. When I tell that I published a paper, my friend will also get motivated to publish a paper. Similarly, when they say they published a paper, I'll also get motivated to publish a paper. So, like that, it's very important to have a person to motivate you when you feel like giving up your PhD. So, as I told earlier, I'm forever grateful to the people that I had in my life. So, when I was doing my Master of Business Administration degree, in the last semester, we had a thesis component. So there were few academics, namely Dr. Shashi Tunna. Some of you may know her. She's from the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka. And there was one Dr. Kanchana Vijayawardena from University of Colombo then. Now she's in Australia. And Professor Ravindra Heva Kuruppu, who is currently the Dean of the Faculty of Management at University of Perera, and myself. So four of us were doing our master's research together. So we all were holding each other tightly when each one felt like giving up. So that was very, very important. And when I was doing my PhD, I had one very good friend called Professor Takshila Adhikaram from Vayamba University of Sri Lanka. So those were the people who held me tightly when I had setbacks in my studies, when I had setbacks, disappointments, and frustrations in my personal life. And when there was a lot of work demands which pressurized me and I could not focus on my research. and who encouraged me to get into certain achievements during my MBA research and my PhD research. So when I was doing my after when I completed my MBA research, I of course got the gold medal that year for the best research dissertation. And I dedicate that apart from my family to all those buddies who held me tight during that difficult time. And apart from those buddies at your study program, you need to seek support from your family, friends, loved ones, colleagues, and mentors. Always don't worry to ask for help. Tell them that I'm doing a PhD. I might not be able to look after you like this. Or else you can put it in a way, like I'm doing a PhD. Can you help me by doing this? Like that, you can get the support of your parents, your siblings, your husband or wife, and your children. For that, you need open communication. And you can practice delegation, and also you can have a good social network with your friends, but don't go over. And also you can seek psychological support if you find that your mental health has gone for a six. Don't worry or don't be hesitant to seek support from a counselor or psychologist. And thereafter, there's so many other sources of support that we can use to navigate our journey easily. So you need, now there's a lot of technology support, leverage technology. So nowadays, the most common buzzword is about AI. So there are a lot of AI tools that will help you in your research. Make use of them. See, don't let them to control you. See how you can get their support. And there are so many other social media and websites like these YouTube channels, these websites like Academic Phrase Bank, and Times Higher Education, then 750 words. And Facebook is very helpful in your academic journey. There are so many great pages like Write That PhD, Writing for Research, Academic Toolkit, which gives you different types of tools. I found tools in those pages related to time management, literature review, publishing, writing methodology, developing questionnaires, all that. So use social media wisely. And apart from that, have hobbies, take breaks when necessary, prioritize sleep and eating. I'm a person who strongly believes in not staying up late for studies. I never stay up late for studies because I don't think that's productive. So you need to pay attention for self-care and prioritize sleep, as I said, minimize screen time, stay with your friends on and off when you need a break, eat well, eat healthy. Here and there, you can eat junk food to satisfy and gratify you, but most of the time, make sure to eat healthy. And most importantly, practice gratitude. Be grateful every day for something in the life on that day. So, with that small note, I would end my presentation or my session. So now let me open the forum for questions. If you have any questions or suggestions or ideas, or if you have any feedback, you can share it with me either by unmuting your microphones or typing your comments on the chat window. So once again, thank you very much for your cooperation and participation for this session. And thank you very much once again to the chair of ICOM, Professor Nalin Abeysekera, Ms. Harini Perera, Ms. Nayani Senarathna, and all those who were eagerly waiting for this session. Thank you very much. It was great to be with you this evening. Thank you and good night.
So, dear
Dear
Prabhashini madam, I'm Harini here.
Hello.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yes, Harini, I can.
Madam, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us today. It was really insightful and a really interesting session, ma'am, and kind of eye-opening too for all our contestants. So I think there's a big take-home message from this valuable session, ma'am. So thank you so much. We are very honored to have you with us. So we hope you will be working with us in future also, ma'am. So
Definitely.
thanks again. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good night.
Thank you very much, Harini, for your positive words and the appreciation. I'm more than happy to hear that there was something that you could gain from this session. And thank you once again for the invitation and the opportunity.
Madam. Thank you for the excellent insights, madam. Our participants now have the opportunity to better navigate their PhD journey by effectively balancing study, work, and family life. I am confident that everyone will benefit from the strategies you have shared and apply them in their academic and personal lives. Thank you once again, madam, for sharing your invaluable experiences with us. Really, that was more valuable to us. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to every participant for your active engagement. Your presence and contributions have truly enriched this session. Today marks the conclusion of the 3MT guest lecture series, and we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who contributed to its success. To our dear contestants, we look forward to seeing you again on the final day of 3MT competition at ICOM 2024 on October 1st, 2024. So thank you very much, madam, once again.
Thank you very much, Nayani, again for the opportunity and the invitation. And I too wish all the 3MT contestants of the Open University 3MT competition to win this competition. I'm sure it would be a great experience for all of you, where you would get the chance to share your research insights to a non-technical audience. So, wishing everyone all the best with the competition. Thank you once again and good night.
Okay, good night, madam.
Thank you everyone for the feedback sent through the chat messages too. Thank you so much. Good night.